Hello fellow cinephilians, my name is Christina and welcome to another Let's Get Reelz movie review. Today is Classic Movie Thursdays here on my channel, my version of Throwback Thursdays. Today's classic movie I will be reviewing for you is It Happened One Night, starring Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert. It Happened One Night starts off with an heiress named Ellie Andrews, played by Claudette Colbert. Her father does not want her to marry a millionaire or wealthy pilot. He's kind of a jerk, and her father's like, no, you can't marry him, this isn't gonna happen. So in protest, she jumps off of the yacht that her and her father had been traveling on and decides to go back to New York. She swims to shore and takes the bus back to New York, or at least that was her plan. A reporter named Peter Warren, played by Clark Gable, is down in Florida. He's just had an argument over the phone with his editor, and his editor fires him. But on the way back, an opportunity for a very good story comes up for Peter, and he's once again in touch with his old editor. The story that comes his way is the story of Ellie Andrews. Her face has been plastered all over the newspapers since she ran away, and it's saying like, oh, heiress runs away or what have you. It's just a headline with her picture on it. And Peter runs into Ellie down in Florida, and he decides to blackmail her into a good story. He's like, you run away, I'm gonna call your dad. He goes, I got the great story, so I'm gonna be sticking with you. And that's basically the whole story of It Happened One Night. I'm not gonna give too much away in the movie because you guys just need to go see it. It's a good movie. Ellie and Peter travel together, and they get lost along the way, and a whole bunch of other things happen. This is a screwball comedy from the 1930s, and it's directed by Frank Capra, so you know it's going to be absolutely excellent. And of course, at the end, Peter and Ellie do wind up together, so hopefully that's not too much of a spoiler if you guys are familiar with old movies or just movies in general, because two main characters usually end up together. Clark Gable, you might be wondering, well, this is Columbia. It was directed by Frank Capra. If you know anything about old Hollywood, they usually stuck to their studio, so it was the studio system at this time, but MGM had gotten pissed off at Clark Gable because he had an affair with Joan Crawford, so they're like, we're gonna send you to Columbia, because at the time Columbia was known as Poverty Row. They just didn't really make movies that people noticed too much or got a lot of recognition, and their movies just weren't like up to par with like MGM and Warner Brothers at this time. So MGM to Clark Gable, they're like, well, we're just gonna kick you down there as punishment for this. And that came back to bite MGM in the ass, because It Happened One Night became one of the all-time greatest movies. Clark Gable did not like making this movie. Claudette Colbert did not like making this movie, but it turned out that it was a sweep at the Oscars in 1934. It won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Screenplay. Grand Slam. And I mean, it deserves it. This to me is like Clark Gable's best role. I like seeing him be funny and silly and outside of like the real macho leading man roles. I'm not a real huge Clark Gable fan, so I really don't like him in serious roles. I've never really been like too crazy about him, but I love him in It Happened One Night because it's just so not a character that he would typically play, that MGM had him playing, because he was always the handsome leading man, and he was, he always got the girl in the end, which of course, like I said, he does get the girl in the end here, but he was silly. He was allowed to do something else. When Peter was a drunkard, he was really kind of a bastard, and he was just so good. He was so perfect. I'm very happy that he did win the Academy Award for this. Claudette Colbert is just nothing but a fantastic actress in whatever she does, and I really like seeing her in a comedy, although she didn't really get to like stretch her comedic skills out that much. I mean, If you know anything about It Happened One Night, you know there's a famous scene where she hitches a ride and she pulls her skirt up and shows her leg. Like, that's a great moment in this movie, and it's, you know, something that you wouldn't expect from Claudette Colbert had you seen like her other movies. And she was just great. She was excellent with Clark Gable. It was like an interesting pairing to see Claudette Colbert and Clark Gable together, because, you know, I don't know, it was just weird. I guess I'm so used to them being with, you know, the leading females or leading males from their own studios, so to see them together, kind of like looks wise felt like a mismatch, but attitude wise it was like the perfect pairing, because Claudette Colbert had a great attitude in her pre-code movies, and that was just like perfect to go along with Clark Gable's like, you know, like snap that he had and his snarkiness that was in this movie. Frank Capra was such a great director. He really knew how to get the best out of his actors. He really created some great scenes in this movie, and he really knew how to pull you into every movie that he made, especially It Happened One Night. And he was so good at directing the funny and really having you focus on the funny, and he's just a great guy. If you guys have never seen a Frank Capra movie before this, definitely go and watch It Happened One Night. So that was my review of It Happened One Night, starring Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert. If you like this review in any way, please give it a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below. If you have seen It Happen One Night, let me know what you think. Let me know what your favorite scene is. If you really like Clark Gable in this movie, whatever you want, leave them there. And also in the comments, if you have any suggestions or requests of any classic movies or any movie, old or new, that you would like me to review, leave them there. And if I pick a movie and I watch it and I review it, I'll give you a shout out. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for future Classic Movie Thursdays and other Let's Get Reelz movie reviews, because that is what I like to do here. And as always, keep watching movies and stay absolutely fabulous.